into our meridians, and it comes into our chakra. So this is the sixth chakra. And this is where we start to synthesize the masculine and feminine energy. And again, this is a purely energy attribute. It's not a gender specific. As we have roles and archetypes around male, female, it's purely speaking from the energy attribute in terms of masculine and feminine. So each of us are masculine and feminine. And what seems to be the primary part of our initiation as a group, and I'm feeling most of us in this room are at, is starting to work with the sixth and seventh dimensional energies. So again, the masculine, and this also has to do with, again, the integration of the twin flame. So as we start to manifest the merging of our masculine and feminine energy, we again, our relationships externally will change in terms of our male-female relationship. Because the karma that was there around the relationship will cease to exist. And so you'll find the nature of your relationships changing between the masculine and feminine, whatever role that shows up for you. But again, this side, the right side, is the sixth dimensional energy. When it starts to activate, and again, as you're building your light body, the sixth dimensional wave spectrum, the indigo color, will start to be transduced into your body. And this again is you're going at the chakra column. Most of us have gone from the fourth and the fifth. The body will start to accrete these energies, and as we go through planetary ascension, it is the completion of the seventh dimensional energy, when this is integrated in our light body, that we start to stabilize it and we get beyond the frequency fence that keeps us in the reincarnational wheel. Now when this occurs, you become a threat to the human tribe. So it's important to understand that. It's very important to understand that as beings will start to sense you as different, you at times will feel hostility or power or control issues emerging into your environment. And this is again to remember, most people are here at the three-dimensional and maybe just starting to open into heart center. The next wave ascension group is starting to work with the sixth and seventh dimensional energies. And again, just to go back, this again on the right side is sixth and this is the seventh. So again, as the sixth dimensional energy comes in, it is synthesized through the base of the brain and it comes out of the third eye right here. And this is where you start to be considered a kindergarten ascended master at the planetary level. Now it's kind of funny because we think of ourselves ascended master, you think of some guru or someone in India, you know, or Amachi sitting there being in bliss all day. But what's happening is that the planet is evolving faster than human consciousness is. So our version, we are getting spiritually upgraded very fast without the mental preparation, emotional preparation, or physical preparation. And that's why it's extremely important as well to kind of call upon the guidance and to really look at yourself multidimensionally and work on cultivating those aspects of yourself so that you can be integrated and have a comprehension or a model of what's happening in your life and why it's changing. So the seventh dimensional energy is on the female side. And again, this is our crown chakra. So this light happens to be more of a kind of violet light in nature. Those of you that we work with the violet flame of transmutation, that's what that is. The violet flame is actually a particular energy signature that transmutes karma. So what that does is karma is basically blockages in your body where the consciousness of light cannot refract because there's a blockage there or a distortion there. The violet light, when you call it in and you start to work with it, will repattern and reorganize the various structures of your template instruction set that are in your body. And that's what the violet light and the 12th dimensional energy that I go on about, the platinum seal, is so good for, because it reorganizes the karmic patterning in your body. So, but back to the 6th and the 7th energies work together. And what I've been noticing in my practice and in speaking a lot lately is a lot of people are having pain in the shoulder scapula area and the neck. And this is because the energies are attempting to come through here and try to make their way up. And so this whole upper quadrant has been kind of achy and in pain lately. So I just wanted to share that in case that was an issue with anyone here. So I think that's my information on the Indigo races. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have that
Are you having the shoulder pain?
the shoulder and the neck.
Yeah, and the
The
shoulder
left
pain.
shoulder and the neck.
The neck, yes.
And
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
nothing wrong physically with the shoulder.
Yeah, this area is this whole area right here. We tend to as well, this is our 7th meridian, is all the way from, I think it's like the 3rd toe, and it comes all the way up. and it comes up through the side of our head and out the crown. So when the 7th dimensional energy, which is violet, starts to come into the body, it starts to open up centers that haven't been opened or have been dormant for a long time, and it feels that way. So sometimes, you know, you can work with the violet light if you know that's where you're at and kind of bring it in there and open it up. I'm also a proponent of working with your guides. I work with a lot of inner healing teams, and they're like absolutely thrilled to help and our amazing support system. In the last class I talked about the medical assistance team and the evolution team, and I am definitely a proponent of utilizing your teams. They've really helped your body a lot. So, is there any other questions about our hi, welcome? Did we have any other questions about our indigo stuff, our indigo races? Okay. Well, what I would like to do then is finish this off. Let me ask if we should do, okay, they're talking about the solar plexus activation. In May, what happened this last month is, May was quite intense. I don't know if anybody was going through the physical kind of shifts of that. But in May, we went through another Ascension Portal, and they started to talk about something called the solar plexus activation, which we are actually in the midst of right now. This began about May 27th, and the purpose of this was to actually open up the solar plexus to a different level. And as that occurs, of course, I was wondering how that would manifest on the external levels, because the solar plexus is the seat of our ego and our conscious mind. So I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens in the next few months when people start to feel more of an opening in their solar plexus. So,
Yes,
sure.
So would that be something that you could connect with specific, like thoughts of death, or you know, having death around you suddenly? It seems like that's something that's.
Well, what happens around, what they've been saying is this is exit point time. What I've been noticing too is, and this is something, again, we talk about being a master of the illusion, and so really there is no death. But we're going to see a lot of people drop their bodies, and we have to really honor that as a choice, because again, as the energies are coming in to this particular realm, it's either one or two things are going to occur. To a person who has no framework of what is happening, it may incite fear and constriction. So the second you go into unknowingness, or your body, or your body's changing, your life is changing, and you don't know why, and you constrict yourself, it's going to create more densification. It's going to create more constriction and blockage in the body. And that's why, again, it's so important to have this information, so that you can really help people to learn to expand themselves, to connect, and to be open to change, help people be open to making a shift, because we're going to go through a lot of changes, and we must be adaptable to those changes. If you resist them, again, it creates blockage. If you learn how to open yourself, and really that's the surrender, right? You know, if you surrender to it, it'll be so much easier, and your body can do what it knows how to do to begin to process these energies. And then it sounds like you may be one of the people that has been, you know, seeing a lot of people decide to pass on to the other side.
It's just an energy that, like within the last week or so, it's just been everywhere. Not so much personal as just, you know, it's like a repeating message.
Yes.
And almost to the point of random physicality in my own interpersonal experience, and then suddenly going, what is that? What is that? You know, that's, so I was just wondering if that was.
Well, a lot of our mentality too is like a death to the old order.
Right.
You know, when we're dying to the ego, that's what it feels like. You feel like a part of you is dying. And that's kind of a phenomenon. It's good to talk about that as well. I mean, a part of that I call is like the dark night of the soul. I also feel that in our cells have like a little alarm clock going off, and it's almost like something big is happening. And you know, we've been in these cycles of incarnation for a while, and the ascension, we're literally getting a part 1 and part 2 life, where we're going to be using the same biology, but it's almost like a completely new life stream is going to come in do the same biology and be a completely different person. So it feels like this part of you has died and this part of you is being reborn, you know, and it feels that way in your cellular system. I mean, even like looking back at myself, what I used to, I can't even connect to that person. You know what I mean? Because it's literally, even though it was it the same body? It was, but it looks, you know, it looked and was so different than I am now that it's really, I can't even connect to that person. So, and I did go through very much like a death process, and I see that as very common. But we will be seeing people leave their body, so it is really important to learn to be in sort of a compassionate state, but not overwhelmed emotionally by it, to understand that this is a choice that many beings have to make now, and going through transmutation isn't always the easiest thing, you know. So they may decide to do, you know, ascension on another plane or in another classroom, and that's what's best for their soul, and we have to honor that. So, you know, thank you.
So Lisa, as far as, because for me, I've been really challenged with my physicality, you know, since I got sick, and it's just like one thing after another. It's like my whole right side is just completely like, and even that, you know, with all that I'm doing, and I just keep feeling like, you know, I don't even know who this body is, and it's a strange feeling, and it's connected with like my inner child or something. It feels very, I'm having all these recollections of memories of when I was really young, and, and even when I was driving here, I was like, I don't even feel comfortable in my own skin anymore. It's like I feel like I'm going to crawl out of it or something. It's a strange feeling, you know. But so as far as suggestions and you know, for surrendering and calling the MAP teams, and the surrendering actually feels good because I feel like I have been kind of resisting a little bit. But
any other suggestions? Well, you know, personally, again, this month was very intense. There was like 3 major, you know, I would say downloads of frequency, and I know you and I discussed it. I mean, I'm very much used to a lot of the frequency, and I was out for like three times, just out on my back, prone, unable to move, and that's very rare for me at this point. You know what I mean? I thought most of that happened about 8 years ago. But we're at each level that we're at, we're being moved significantly up into a whole new level of what I call initiation. And that's initiation into higher light fields. You know what I mean? So your body has to be purified very quickly. And so I think that's what you're describing as a very fast purification.
Yeah.
Because all of that is cellular memory release, you know? So, I think a part of it, I mean, you're already so wonderful, I know. With a lot of the practices that you do, you have a very, you know, a daily practice that you're very disciplined and adhere to. So I think a lot of it is, you know, most probably surrender, you know, because you're already working your tools, quite frankly. You know, and I mean, myself as well. I mean, it's definitely the solar plexus activation over the last week. On Friday myself, I was totally like in and out of nausea. When, you know what I mean? And I'm like going, okay, do I just take, you know, I kept asking them, should I take the day off? What is this? You know, I mean, it's really, those of us that have said yes are going through incredibly significant increases in vibration very fast. And that is because in order to, many of us have made a decision to go into the new Earth reality spaces. That means that our carbon biology is being transmuted, and we're being exchanged into crystalline and silicate structure. So what I've noticed is that an incredible amount of density has got to be moved fast out of the cellular system in order for this to occur. And so it feels very dense too. And I've, you know, over the last couple of months just noticed very deep levels of density having to be taken out as we move into crystalline structure. So, I mean, they are saying that those of us now at this level of ascension are embodying the trinitized form, okay? So the trinitized form is, if you can think of this time matrix as a female out of a trinity. Okay, so this is another whole cosmology of understanding why we're masculine